All right, here we go, practice test 3. I know some of you think this is boring because we've already done 2 of these that are exactly the same, but why are we doing that? Because what's gonna happen on Friday? You're gonna get the same thing, right? Only then you're all by yourself. So let's see how much of this you can do by yourself right now. How about number 1? Would anybody like to go through number 1 for us?
It's a growth.
It's a growth. Why is it a growth?
It's above 1.
1.08. That's the number you look at. 1.08 is more than 1. How much more than 1?
8%.
8%. What is the initial value?
16.
16. Question number 1. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Number 2. You are going to write the equation given these 2 points. And the key here is it's the equation of the exponential, which means what? What is the format of our equation?
Y equals A times B squared.
Y equals A times B to the x. Kids, you gotta remember that. That's what you want your equation to look like. Okay, so where does this start?
A equals 2/3.
A equals 2/3. This number right here is 2/3. A, we also call that the initial value. That number is the number that's hooked to the 0. That's your y-intercept. So our equation is y equals 2/3 b to the x. All right, now what happens?
Plug the other side.
What?
Plug the other side.
Plug in the other point. So x is 2 and y is 3/2.
Multiplied by 3/2.
Multiply both sides. So Scout says this number right here has to go. You have to get rid of this number. So we think about it as dividing by 2/3, but that's the same as multiplying by 3/2. Would you agree? The purpose is you gotta get rid of that. That has to be gone. So all you have is b squared. Well, what does b squared end up equaling?
2/3.
Wait, b
9.
squared ends up
9
equaling
fourths.
9/4. And then what do? Square root. So b equals 3/2. Our equation is y equals 2/3 times 3/2 to the x. Never ever multiply these together, right? These are an A and a B. They are 2 separate numbers. So even though they look like they're, oh, they're all cancel, no, don't. Okay? Quick recap. This is your A. And then you put in that point and do whatever math you need to do to get B by itself. And then you have your equation. Okay. All right. Let's start with these first 4. So your test is going to have problems just like this one. So you're going to look at this and, oh my, there's so many problems. One step at a time, right? Jackson, what do I do with this guy right here?
You flip it so it's forward.
No. Do we ever flip our exponent?
No.
No. What we flip, because the exponent's negative, this becomes 1/16. Negative exponents mean 1/. So 1/16. Jackson, the 3/4 stays 3/4, but now it is positive. So 1/. 16 to the 3/4. Everybody just kind of look at that, let that settle in. When you have a negative exponent, you start by making it 1 over. Now, what does the fractional exponent mean?
Radical.
It means a radical. So I'm just gonna put a radical down there. The big number, the main number, the base number is always under the radical. And then the exponent tells me my root and my power. My root and my power. What's the 4th root of 16?
2.
2. And 2 cubed is 8. Remember, no calculator, you're gonna see a lot of 16s and 27s and these numbers that we use over and over and over again. All right, here we go. Jackson, let's try again. 4 to the negative third. 1 over 4 to the third. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. What's 4 to the third?
64.
64. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Now, this one's a little bit different because it's already a fraction. When we remember what we do when we have something that's already a fraction going to a negative power. You remember what happens to this fraction? Flip it. So it's 16/9 to the positive one, which is just 16/9. You everybody still on the same page here? Okay. Grant, you got a lanyard on? You know what that means, my first one of the day. You got a lanyard on? All right, here we go. What about this one? This is an easy one.
1/3.
Yeah. Whenever an ln and an e touch each other, they cancel. Direct contact, they cancel. Done. Okay. All right, let's look at the next 4. Or maybe I can get all of them up here. Let's see.
I don't think I have my lanyard.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Run down to technology. Please come back quickly, because we've got good stuff happening here. How did you get lunch with all in here?
Oh, I use Apple Pay.
Okay, here we go. Anybody have an idea about any of these?
Yeah, log 717 is 19.
This guy right here?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Easy peasy. Okay, that problem right there is worth the same as this problem. You know that the answer to this one is 19 and you don't have to do anything. All right, anybody see another one that's kind of easy maybe?
Log 100 is 10.
Seconds.
What, which one?
Log 100 first was
This
3.
one?
That was 3.
Now, for some of you, this one might not be as easy, but what are you thinking? Why do you think this is easy?
Cube it so that log at the bottom is matching.
She says, I know that 27 is 3 cubed. And if log base 3 of 3 cubed, these are gonna cancel, right? Because those two match. So the answer is just 3. Are you okay with that? Okay, that one was not too bad, all right.
Log 100 is just 2.
This is the same thing. What's the base on this? 10. And what do we know about 100?
10 squared.
10 squared. So that's gonna be 2. Very good, very good. How about that last one down there?
1/3.
That's 1/3. E and LN in direct contact are gonna cancel each other. Now remember, don't be canceling if there's anything in between them. A number or a radical sign, anything can't be there. The only way they're gonna cancel is if they are directly touching. Alright, what about this one?
25 fourths.
Well, it's gonna be 5 halves, because we're going to flip it and then square it. So 25 fourths, just like someone said.
And then 2y cubed over 3x.
Well, I don't know, that's way more than I can handle at one time. So, Scout, what did you do with this?
I just simplified it by doing the by flipping everything that needs to be flipped, and by,
Okay, hang on, let's do that first. So she said, there's some stuff in here with negatives. So this is negative, so he is gonna come down, so I'm gonna have y to the 5th down here. And he is gonna go up, so I'm gonna have y to the 11th up there.
and then
Now,
cancel out.
things will cancel out, she says. What happens here? What happens with that?
It's gonna be 2x
X
on the
squared
bottom.
on
X squared on the bottom. And what happens here?
y to the 6th on top.
Y to the 6th on top. Now, we're taking everything to the 1/2 power. Now the exponents are easy. We multiply these, right? So that's gonna be y cubed and x. But what you need to remember with the numbers is a 1/2 power means a square root. So 2y cubed over 3x, is that what you said, Scout, originally? Yep, you're exactly right, good job. Anybody have a question about that page? Okay, now we've got all of these equations to solve. So just like these problems, some of them are gonna be easy and some of them are gonna be a little harder. So let's look at the first 4. Does anybody know how to handle this first one here, letter A? Loop-de-loop. Why do we loop-de-loop? Because it's log equals number. So 2 to the 3rd equals 2x minus 1. 2 to the 3rd is 8. I got 9 halves, but double check that, cause I did it kind of quickly. Does that look okay to everybody? Alright, well what about the second one? What about problem B?
Divide by 5.
Divide by 5. Guys, that is a common theme for us. We can't have this extra number. So we're gonna divide.
32.
So 4 to the x equals 32. I think we had that problem yesterday.
Yeah. Make-
Anybody remember how we did it yesterday?
Make 4 2 squared. and 32.
Exactly. See, a 32 is not a power of 4. So in other words, you can't say 4 to something. I mean, it is, but not an integer power, not like 4 squared or 4 cubed or something like that. So we go down and make them smaller. So we think of this as 2 squared, because that's what 4 is, right? It's 2 squared. And then 32, anybody happen to remember, we figured it out yesterday. 2 to the 5th. Now remember, if you forget that, which you might, you can figure it out. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times another 2 is 16, times another 2 is 32. You can figure that out. As soon as we do that, these are both 2's, then we can just set our exponents equal. And the answer is the same as it was yesterday, 5 halves. Everybody kind of remember that from yesterday? All right, how about the next one?
Divide by negative 10.
Divide by -2, so log x equals -2. I heard a loop-de-loo back here. Cause Xavier, when do we loop-de-loo? When we have log equals number? Okay, what's my base on this?
10.
10. LOG, if it doesn't have a base, this one had a 2. If it doesn't have a base already written, you know it's 10. So 10 to the -2 equals x. What does 10 to the -2 mean? 1/10 squared, which is 1/100. Guys, try to pay attention. I know I'm boring as heck. I know it. Did I tell you what kid told me the other day? Walked in yawning. I looked at him and said, hey, you don't want to come into math class. This is exciting. He said, I'm sorry, Miss Ford. That's the effect you have on me. So, try to stay awake. This is important stuff. My feelings weren't hurt. It's okay. How do I solve this? What happens?
Divide by, or multiply by 8.
Okay, technically I need to divide by 1/8, but since it's a fraction, I will multiply by 8 to cancel that out. If you want to divide by 1/8, you are welcome to do that, it's fine. But remember, you don't have a calculator, so it's probably easier to times by 8. So we have 2 to the 3x over 4 equal to 64. And I guess what you have to do,
Divide by 2.
you have to figure out how many 2's make 64. So I heard somebody say 6. I'm gonna double check that just to make sure. So 6 2's would look like that. 3 2's are 8. 2 to the 3rd. So that's an 8 and that's an 8. I think you're right. 2 to the 6th. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you got both 2's now, we can say 3x over 4 equals 6. Right? And 3x equals 24 and x equals 8. How do you feel about those? Alright, some of these are a little bit bigger. What do you think about these first two?
You have to
How am I
combine,
gonna begin these guys?
combine the 2 logs.
I have to combine the logs on the left side. Now, how do I combine these? You have to do it. There's no other way. You don't have a choice. You have to combine them. How can we do that? Log base 4 of what?
2x
Divided by
over
2x over x plus 1? Why is it a division there, 2x over x plus 1?
Log minus log.
Because that is a subtraction. I don't know if you remember or not, but yesterday they were an addition. So we multiplied these together. Now we're dividing. What do I do once I get it all put together?
Loop-de-loop.
Loop-de-loo, so 4 to the 3rd equals 2x over x plus 1. 4 to the 3rd is 64. I can figure that out if I don't have it memorized. 4 times 4 times 4. Now you have a regular little equation to solve, just like algebra one. What do?
First, multiply x.
So 64x plus 64, bring in the x plus 1 over here, right? Equals 2x.
Subtract 64x.
What?
What do we subtract 64?
Subtract the 2x, so 62x plus 64 equals 0. Now what?
Move the 64 to the other
So
side.
62x equals negative 64.
Number 64.
So x equals negative 64 over 62, which is negative 32 over 31. Can't be. Because if you took that number right there and you put it right here, wouldn't this be a negative? And can you take the logarithm of a negative? Not possible. It's a little tricky for sure. All right, next problem. What are you gonna do with that? Combine them again. Now, not that one. That one's on the other side, so he's fine. You're allowed to have one. You just can't have two. So we're gonna put these two together. And how are they gonna go together? X plus 1 over x.
Divide by one.
Wait, this is different now. We started the same way as we did over here. But over here, we ended up with log equals number. So we loop-de-loop. Here, we have log equals log, which, what if we do that?
Cancel.
Drop the logs right off and set them equal to each other. How do we solve that?
Multiply by x.
Subtract x over. Divide by 4.
I got 1/4. So right here, right next to each other, these are the two fundamental kinds of logarithm equations that we have. We have where log equals number. Giovanni! Thank you for sitting up and being awake and alert. So we have log equals number, which we loop-de-loop. And then we have log equals log, which we drop them out and set them equal to each other. We've already done something like that just a few minutes ago.
Make them both choose something.
Make them both twos. Isn't 4 2 squared? And 8 is 2 cubed. So if I rewrite those, they're both 2's, so it looks to me like x is 3 halves. Are you okay with that? Okay, 2 more. Both quite easy. If you miss this one, quite honestly, you need to be embarrassed. What's this one? 7 to the second equals x, so x is 49. If you have log equals number, you're gonna loop-de-loop. Okay? Can I loop-de-loop on this one?
Yeah, this is log base
I
E.
can, because ln is log base e, so So e to the second equals x, and that's it, e to the second. E is a number like pi. It's perfectly okay. It's not a variable, it's a number, just like pi. How are we doing? Everybody still with me?
Yep.
Combine these into one logarithm. So in other words, it's gonna be log that. What did you say, Eli? X over y cubed is what Eli said. What do the rest of you think?
I agree.
We agree? First of all, why is it x over? Why is it a division problem? Because that's a subtraction. We need to remember that a number out in front of a logarithm like this is really an exponent. So that's how we got y cubed. The cube doesn't go with the x, it only goes with the y, because it's in front of the y logarithm. Well, what about that second one? You're expanding it. So you're gonna have a log x and you're gonna have a log y. That's what expand means. Take the logarithm of each letter. So this time we have an x and a y.
2 log x plus log y.
2 log x plus log y is what Jacob said. What do you think about that? Okay, where did this 2 come from? It's the exponent. Exponents come out in front. Why is it a plus? Because those are multiplied. Done. That's it. Easy. All right, let's get our calculators out. Now we've got a little less. What pops into your head when you look at this?
Move to the left.
I'm glad that pops into your head. It should, because you have log equals number. And that means root 2. So here we go. 6 to the x equals 13. Now a minute ago, I had like 4 to the x equals 8. And I changed both of those into 2's. I didn't need a calculator. It was all fine. Can't do that with 6 and 13, can you?
13's prime.
So since our variable is a exponent, I need logarithms. This is like your PERT problems, when you have to do the log of both sides. I need to do the log of both sides. So, what happens when I do that? Where does the x go?
To the front.
To the front. So, x, it's an exponent. Exponents come out in front. So it's x log 6 equals log 13. Can I get x by itself? That's my goal. Sure I can.
Divide log 6.
All I need to do is divide log 6, that's right, so log 13 over log 6. Did you get 1.4315?
Yep.
Wow, 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 not hard at all. Let's look at the next one. Keshad, step 1. You know this. What do we always do? Yes, and you'd be right. You should say divide. Because when there's a number hanging around out in front here, we don't want it. So we're going to divide. So we have 3 to the x equals 15 fourths. Doesn't that look an awful lot like this one did before I logged it? Doesn't that look like what I got here? So what do I do? If I wanna solve for an exponent, I
Log
need
both
to
sides.
log both sides. So this will come out in front. And you get x by itself, I'll divide by this. That's what I'm gonna type into my calculator. So log 15 divided by 4, close parentheses, divided by log 3. What'd you get? Somebody tell me.
1.2031.
Yep, that's exactly right. Good job. Good job. I hope you're all typing in with me. It's not hard typing, but remember, on the test, you miss 1/4. 1/4 of the problem if you don't get it typed in correctly. So make sure you're practicing with your calculator. All right, 4e to the 1.3x equals 17.
Divide by 4.
Divide by 4. Same thing, Keyshawn, you paying attention? And divide by 4. So e to the 1.3x equals 17/4. Jacob N, what happens now? Yep. Yep, the exponent is the variable, so we need logarithms, right? But because this problem has an e, well, ln. Now remember, ln is just a special logarithm. But it will always cancel out the e, so that's why you do it. If you forget and accidentally log both sides, it's okay. It'll still work, it's just more work, because you don't have the canceling. So 1.3x equals ln 17/4.
Divide 1.3.
Divide by 1.3, and that will be our answer. What'd you get for that one?
1.111.
Perfect. Anybody have a question about those three? All right, all we have left are our word problems. So here are the formulas. We have PERT and the other one. So obviously, you're gonna read the problem. And then what's the first thing you have to figure out?
What formula are you using?
What formula I'm going to use. So let's read the first one. Is it gonna be PERT or the other one?
Other one.
And how do we know?
Compounded quarterly.
Compounded quarterly. Eli, you're on fire today. You should be teaching this class. You're doing great.
Keep going about that.
Well, I hope you do well on the test, because it sounds like you know what you're doing. All right, so we're gonna use that one, the compound interest formula. So do I have an A?
Yes, 300.
300. Keyword there is double. And I'm starting with 150.
0.0175.
My interest rate is 0.0175. Very good. Divided by 4 to the 4. There's a 4 up there too. I don't know if I'm not underneath the TV. There's a 4 up there too. And, uh-oh, is t my variable? Okay, that's all right. But what does that mean? I'm going to need logarithms eventually. I'm going to need logarithms. Okay, so what's step 1 though?
Divide by 150.
Divide by 150. So 2 equals 1 plus 0.0175 over 4 to the 4t. Let's see if I can get a number for this that I don't have to round off. 1 plus 0.0175 divided by 4 Well, it's kind of big, but I can do it. 1.004375 to the 4t. I don't know if that helps you or not. You don't have to do that, that's optional. It's an optional step. Okay. What now?
Log both sides.
Gotta log both sides. At this point, we have no choice, we have to log both sides. And when we do that, guys, see that 4t? He's gonna come out in front. So when you log, this exponent comes out here in front. This is one of those that's really, really ugly, but I don't want you to be afraid of it. Be brave. This is what you're solving for. So aren't we gonna have to divide by 4? Alright, so let's do that on our calculator. We'll just say log 2, close parentheses, divided by 4. You have 0.075, whatever? Okay, so that's this. But it still equals t times all of that. So what else do we need to do?
Divide that.
Divide by all of that. So we don't need to retype it in, just hit divided by log 1.004375. Did you get 39.6950?
Yes.
And the unit on that would be years. Remember, our word problems are gonna have units, and this was a time. Years.
And do you always want us to go to
You'll follow the directions on the test.
the, so there will be
There will be
directions.
Are we good so far? All right, if you have trouble typing that in, you might want to go back and try it a couple more times on your own. Make sure you can get all that typed in. All right, B.
Just one. Could you have divided by the log
Yep.
1.1?
Yep, the order doesn't matter. You can divide by them at the same time, as long as you put them in parentheses. I find that people always forget the parentheses, so that's why I do it one at a time, but you can do it together. All right, B, what do we got? Same formula. Do we have an A?
No.
Nope. Do we have a P?
Yes.
Yes.
9876, 1 plus. Do we have an R?
0.02125.
Do we have an N?
12.
And do we have a T?
25.
Gosh darn, this is easy. Just plug it in, right? What's 12 times 25?
300.
Let's go ahead and make that a 300 just to simplify our lives a little bit. Why does this make me so excited? This one's easy.
1600.
I just type it in, right? I don't have to do logarithms, I don't have to do division. I'm just gonna type it in. 9876 parentheses, 1 plus 0.02125 divided by 12, raised to the 300. What'd you say you got, Sal?
1691.75.
Now that one, that's a dollars answer, right? How much money? So we are always gonna round that off to the nearest cent. It wouldn't make any sense to put more decimal places after that, because it's a money. One more problem, my friends. How long will it, alright, what formula for this one? PERT. We know it's PERT because it's always PERT. If it isn't money, or if it's compounded continuously. That is perked, otherwise it's the other one. So, here we go. How long will it take for populate, do we have an A?
888.
8888. Do we have a P?
4, 5, 6, 7.
4, 5, 6, 7. Do we have an R?
234.
Point 234. And we are solving for T. Okay, now this one does not make me leap for joy because I'm not going to just type this in. I'm gonna need logarithms, right? I'm gonna divide first, and then I'm gonna need logarithms. So 8888 over 4, 5, 6, 7 equals e to the 0.234t. And when I log both sides, I'll use natural logarithms. I'll ln, right? Because this will go away.
Divide by 0.2.
Wait a second. So ln 88888 over 4, 5, 6, 7 equals 0.234t. And then I'll divide. And this should be my answer. So ln 8888 divided by 4, 5, 6, 7 divided by 0.234. Did you get 2.8455 years?
Yes. And the measurement of time doesn't matter, does it?
Not in that problem. When you, not in PERT it doesn't. But in the other formula, it's always years. Okay? In the big formula, it's always years. But in PERT, it can be anything. Okay? All right. Yesterday, at this moment, I said to you, okay, go back through the practice test we just did and find a problem that we need to practice one more of. So, I'm gonna do that right now. And I think I'm gonna ask Caden, which problem on the practice test we just finished, Caden, would you like to do another example of? Because you found it a little bit confusing.
Number D.
Which number? I
D.
mean, like
40.
40? 40. Okay, so 40 is an exponential. So it's something like 1/3 times 2 to the 4x over 7 equals, let's say, 48. No. I gotta be careful here. I can make it so it's gonna actually be that. What did you say? What number should I be using? No, I don't use 27.
36.
I'm gonna need to use some kind of fraction. Let's say 8. Okay, so here it is, Kate, really ugly looking things. What do you think we should do first? Kate?
Multiply by
Divide.
By,
1/3.
okay, dividing, it's fine. Dividing by 1/3 is the same as timesing by 3. Okay, do you remember divide by 1/3 is timesing by 3/1? Remember that rule, that keep, change, split thing?
Yes.
So we're gonna multiply both sides by 3/1. So 2 to the 4x over 7 equals equals 8. What's 8? Something special about 8.
Because the 2 to the 3rd.
8 is 2 to the 3rd. Now I heard somebody say you gotta use logs. I am not gonna disagree with that. We could use logarithms. The problem is, this is on the no calculator part. So logarithms probably isn't a good idea, right? So if it's on the no calculator part, you're going to be able to change 8 into a power of 2 so that you can set your exponents equal to each other. So 4x over 7 equals 3. So 4x equals 21 and x equals 21/4. Okay? All right. So guys, we've done quite a few problems of this type. If it's an exponential and you don't have a calculator, you're going to want to make these two numbers match. Make them whatever you want, but they gotta match. All right, one more. One more, let's see. Does anybody have one, or am I just gonna pick on somebody? Xavier. Okay, you need to talk loud and clear, because I'm 64 almost. 4D. 4D, I just did. E, 4E. All right, so 4E looks something like this. So, how do we have to start?
Combine.
We have to combine. These two have got to be combined into one logarithm.
Distribute.
Pay attention to this sign right here, because this tells you how to combine them. Quinn, since that's a plus, what am I gonna do with these two parentheses here? I think you do. Somebody help him out.
Multiply.
We multiply. When we put them together, Quinn, we're always gonna either multiply or divide. And since that's a plus, I'm gonna multiply. If it were a minus, I would divide. So 8x minus 12, that's a distribute. Everybody good with that? What next? Loop-de-loop. So 3 to the second equals 8x minus 12. 3 to the second is 9. 8x equals 21. And it looks like I get 21 over 8 as my answer. Okay? All right, next time we'll do any wrap up we still need to do. And then, my friends, it's test day.
Could you just leave it where you just